In this video, I'm going to do my best to stay objective. Now, personally, I always appreciate people who take the time to learn how to sing and develop a unique sound, or the producers that decide to hire singers. But let's explore generated vocals and ask, are AI vocals the future? I'll create a track and change my vocals to various popular singers, then show how they could be mixed to sound more realistic and professional. So if you're considering using AI vocals in your productions and you want them to sound better, or you're just curious about AI vocals in general, stick around. But before we start, if you want to get your mixes to sound like professional songs, I encourage you to check out our mixing and mastering membership. Just for signing up, you receive 10 free mastered songs per month with your own dedicated mastering engineer, unlimited mixing feedback, and access to Sage Audio University for in-depth mixing and mastering education courses. But more on that at the end of the video. So let's start by taking a look at the session we're working on. So we got a simple track. There's some bass, drums, guitar, piano, and of course a vocal. And to generate the various singers, I got a pro subscription to Lala's so that I could test out a lot of the different options that they have. Now this video is not sponsored or anything like that, so I'm going to give you my actual thoughts, again while doing my best not to be too opinionated. Now, as you can see, there are literally hundreds of different voices that we could emulate, from popular singers to cartoon characters. So in this video, we're testing out Drake, Ed Sheeran, Ariana Grande, Michael Bublé, Kanye, Michael Jackson, Beyoncé pitched an octave up, Billie Eilish, and Ellie Goulding pitched an octave up as well. Then for my personal amusement, we have Hank Hill, Rick Sanchez, and of course, Morgan Freeman, pitch shifted an octave down for good measure. Now real quick, let's take a listen to the demo with the original vocals.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice. And how you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
So with a tuned, bounced out version of the lead vocals, I'll upload it to the site, determine if I want to pitch shift the vocals, and then download it whenever it's ready. But right off the bat, I'm noticing an issue. My voice is kind of raspy and the AI really doesn't like that.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice. And how you word it wouldn't
change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
You'll notice this kind of squeaking sound since I don't think the AI knows what to do if there's any yelling or more aggressive aspects in the vocal. Also, I had these vocals compressed with the channel strip, but Lala's adds a lot of compression and maximization to the vocal, so I think it's best just to avoid any processing other than tuning before importing a track. Another issue I noticed is with the ooze. For example, I did some falsetto, and the original vocals definitely aren't great, but I feel like AI Ed Sheeran didn't help me out too much. So I decided to redo the vocals, and I made them as smooth as possible. I didn't add any compression when I was recording, I just tuned them after the fact, and this gave me much better results. Here's Drake, Ed Sheeran, and Ariana Grande.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice. How you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm
sleepwalking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
So as you can hear, it's definitely better, but you'll still notice a lot of artifacts whenever it's soloed. Those become less apparent when they're played in the context of the mix, but still, these artifacts are only going to get louder during mixing and mastering. Also, notice the dynamics are affected through the AI emulation. The original vocal is pretty tame and has dynamics, while the affected ones have a lot more compression. So let's check out Michael Bublé, Kanye, and Michael Jackson.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice. How you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
So Kanye's definitely surprised me at this point. It actually sounded kind of like Kanye, whereas MJ, not so much. But I think I'm learning that these are kind of hit or miss. I imagine that the original vocal styling has a big impact on how similar it sounds to the artist that you're trying to emulate. For example, at one point I tried Cardi B, and it didn't sound bad, but it just didn't sound like her at all. So I think if you're using these AI vocals, keep in mind that your performance has to be at least somewhat similar to the artist for the effect to work well. Moving on, I was curious about how pitch shifting sounded and how well it could take a male vocal and make it sound as if it was sung by a female vocalist. So let's listen to Beyonce, Billie Eilish, and Ellie Goulding.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice. How you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake and vacant the days. That's right.
Beyonce sounded pretty impressive to me, so I guess even AI Beyonce is in a league of her own. And the other two sounded fine. I'm noticing a good deal of variation, though, between the intensity of artifacts. Billie Eilish's vocals definitely have a lot more noise and weird distortions, and it's easier to notice this when they're soloed.
You talk in circles, say the same thing twice.
So I guess how useful this service is kind of depends on your tolerance for distortion and those types of things. Okay, as I promised, here's Hank Hill, Rick Sanchez, and Morgan Freeman.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice.
How you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm
Walking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
Hearing Hank Hill sing kind of made my day. I mean, it's so absurd that it's hard not to have fun with this type of thing. So if you're using a platform like this just to be entertained, I'd say it's definitely 10 out of 10. Please take my money. But let's see if we could make the AI singer sound a little better with some additional processing. I'm going to use Kanye's vocal and start with a gate to remove some of the artifacts, or at least make them less noticeable. Then I'll add some EQ to cut out any unneeded lows below the vocal's fundamental, and make some general adjustments to make it sound more natural. Now you probably noticed how sibilant his and all of the other vocals were, so I dipped some of the highs, as well as added a de-esser to balance the region out. A little saturation gave the vocal some needed complexity, and then temporal effects like duct reverb that emulated a studio, and a chorus or doubler effect gave it some needed polish. Now notice that I avoided compression. If you're using a service like this, the AI vocals already seem super compressed, so I definitely recommend that you skip any additional compression. So here's Kanye's vocal with the effects, and for fun, I processed Beyonce's so that we could hear those two together.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice. How you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
So, my final thoughts on AI vocals, I'm kind of mixed if this is the future of music or how much of a role it's going to play. Now, something I haven't touched on is the legality of a service like this. I imagine that at any point the service probably has 100 cease and desist letters in their mailbox. I noticed they're using AI-generated images for each artist and say inspired under each artist. So this isn't Drake, it's Drake inspired, or it's not Ed Sheeran, it's Ed Sheeran inspired, and so on. But I can't imagine that something like this is going to last for long with so many potential copyright infringements or some violation of using an artist's likeness to sell a product. But I don't know. I'm certainly no expert about this type of stuff. As for the results, I was pleasantly surprised by some of it. But you have to be careful about how you perform and how you process a vocal beforehand to get usable results. And even then, the results are kind of a mixed bag with a good deal of artifacts and some singers simply not sounding right. I imagine this is going to get better as the AI improves, but who knows? Now, what I do know, though, is that I want to know your thoughts. Which vocalist was your favorite? Do you think AI vocals or AI in general has any place in music? And did I make a mistake by not creating a choir of Hank Hills? Let me know in the comments. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want to get your mixes to sound like professional songs, I encourage you to check out our mixing and mastering membership. Just for signing up, you'll receive 10 free mastered songs per month with your own dedicated mastering engineer, unlimited mixing feedback, and access to Sage Audio University mixing and mastering courses, which include start-to-finish walkthrough sessions for various genres and 35 multi-track sessions for hands-on practice. This platform is supported by our thriving community and tight-knit network of audio engineers, and every day we see and hear great wins in the membership from both new and seasoned engineers, noticing a huge improvement in their mixes and masters after joining. Right now, you could join the membership with a 70% lifetime discount, bringing the cost down to just $15 per month. So join today and start creating mixes that sound like professional songs.